Why are so many people defending this semi-truck driver who killed 3 innocent people on Florida's Turnpike? What I'm going to show you today is going to rock your world even more on this story. But I want to assure you of something first. You're not the crazy one. The people who are unhinged are the 3.1 million people and counting who have signed this petition on change.org demanding a resentencing of a man who's not been sentenced yet, calling this a grave injustice when there hasn't so much been a single court hearing of any significance. Why are they doing this? Why sweep for this guy whose mistake led to the death of 3 people? Would they feel the same way if he was wearing a MAGA hat when this went down? Or is it simply because the phrase illegal immigrant is attached to his name? So many people who signed this petition said the same thing. It was an accident. It was all a huge accident. Even with pre-planned murders don't get 45 years. It's a mistake, not intentional. Prayer emoji, prayer emoji. Well, of course it's a mistake. It was an accident. But sometimes accidents rise to the level of criminality. That's what vehicular homicide is all about. This man's tragic mistake, driving around in a very dangerous semi-truck, cost the lives of 3 people whose families will be forever bothered by what happened that day. Those are the victims, yet everybody's trying to coddle the man behind the wheel who made the decision that ended their lives. And they're not alone. Media outlets are now circling the wagons too. For instance, WPTV, who's been covering this story in South Florida, released this story today. And it says, new footage shows semi-driver charged in fatal crash on Florida's Turnpike speaking English. Well, there's some news. I didn't know he could speak English so well. I thought he didn't know English very well and didn't understand the street signs, which was one of the problems. Which would have had the families looking at the states of Washington and California and even New Mexico for encountering this guy and sending him right back out on the streets. But when you look into this story, there's more to it, and I want you to see this so you can understand what's happening. The WPTV report says, according to the New Mexico State Police, the video shows Singh, who was pulled over for speeding at the time, speaking with the officer in English. This was months before the fatal crash that killed these 3 people on the Turnpike. Police Chief Troy Reisler said Tuesday the stop would not have triggered an ELP, or an English language proficiency test. Why? Even under the new federal guidelines, he said, there were no problems going on. ELP assessments are only required when there is a challenge in communication. And here's the important part. The responding officer had no issue communicating with Singh. Problem solved. He spoke perfect English. In fact, you heard it right there from this media outlet. There was no issue communicating. All we have to do is look at the body cam to see if that's true.
Drive safely, all right?
Thank
See
you,
you.
sir.
Have a good one, sir.
Sorry, sir. I'm my first time.
No worries. I feel bad being the first guy to write you a ticket, but
Yeah.
you know, I try to help you
They
out.
said in my no license in the ticket.
What's that?
They send the ticket in the no my credit.
I'm sorry. I guess I don't understand what you're
Maybe in that this my ticket and my license.
Yeah.
How many years?
The New Mexico authorities are covering their asses because they, along with the folks in Washington and California, are beginning to get scared. They might get sued not only by these 3 families, but by anybody else who may have been injured by a person who is driving on roadways in the United States under a license, a CDL from California or Washington. So we have 3.1 million unhinged people demanding justice where the justice system is actually taking course as it should. We have media outlets that are sweeping for a man who killed 3 people. And then the inevitable. Attorneys are jumping on board. An attorney who's been speaking with Singh for the last 3 days is saying, oh, despite what you may have seen on his face, he feels real bad about all this right now. I saw sorrow and suffering in his eyes. He's praying for the victims' families. According to the attorney, Singh stated to him as soon as the incident happened, he exited the truck, went to the van, broke open the window, and held the hand of someone and said, help is on the way. Please stay with me. Now, maybe that's true. Maybe there's more to this. But that's all part of the justice system as well. Instead of sitting back and figuring out exactly what happened in this case, and then from there determining what justice actually looks like for these three families, we have a whole bunch of people who just want to dive over his body, past the bodies of the three people who ended up dying in this crash, and protect this man. Let him have his day in court. Let them sort this out in the judicial system. And if things aren't fair from there, hell, sign all the petitions you want. But it's a real weird look when random people, media outlets, and even attorneys are circling the wagon so hard for a guy whose decisions led us to where we are today. And it's my opinion that you're not the crazy one, they are.